I have talked to a few Christians who do believe that this earth and this world is entering an end time. Not that they claim to be prophets, but just absolutely devout. I do not claim to be a prophet. Really all that I am is a repenter, as I have done wrong and seek to atone with God, the God of Abraham, for what I have done. But increasingly I do find that the jigsaw puzzle is slowly but surely being completed, and the picture it is making does resemble what can be considered the end time. One only has to turn on the TV to see celebrities being touted as experts in any position they may have. I turned on the TV and see a weather girl who consistently stuffs up beyond the average missed call, predicting rain for a week and not a drop falls. On top of that, has no meteorological qualifications but rather studied the university course on political events, but all is deemed okay because she is married to a footballer. Stupidity is no longer deemed to be a bad judgment in bad circumstances but rather a form of entertainment. We see schadenfreude or shameful glee not just a case of laughing at an enemy's or a random person's misfortunes, but instead see it as shameful pride in that one can make an error and be proud in any misery it creates as long as it doesn't affect oneself. It is fashionable to be stupid and considered rational to be stupid as long as you can make money from it. Emotions and morals have a dollar value these days, and most people who stand out in societies in a celebrity-type mode can be called economic narcissists. They all see themselves as gods over lesser beings and consider the lesser beings to have no dignity or at least not deserving of any. Their mantra is anything for a dollar, and they get this not only by what they know or who they know, but also what they refuse to learn. As we see learning turned into indoctrination and aspiration turned into repeating, the only way that this can be termed progress is by having everyone choosing to have amnesia, or else get paid off not to object or just becoming willingly stupid. From those three options you have those who choose amnesia. They become nut jobs because they override their natural thought processes so as to believe in something they cannot remember. Then you have the mercenaries/prostitutes who choose to be that way because of the perceived financial gain and are best described as sociopaths for rent. The last are the willingly stupid who are accurately described by that term. While the above two will try and justify the positions they take, the willingly stupid will simply go along with stupidity. As there is the art for art's sake term, these same people will peddle stupidity for stupidity's sake as an excuse for what they do. No, I take that back. They will say that stupidity for stupidity's sake applies to every one of their fellow travelers, except them. If that isn't bad enough where stupidity becomes a viable lifestyle, you have to remember such people reproduce. Not only in biological terms, though this is being reduced to such people adopting homosexual lifestyles, but also in conversion terms, as the willingly stupid are absolutely fanatical in infecting others with this rational voidness. This is what Native Americans call Wetiko and Christian Science calls animal magnetism, a psychological illness spread by psychological means. It functions in the same way as HIV in that it hijacks healthy blood cells, injects its DNA and then uses the hijacked cell to infect others. The end result is that the body that hosts these blood cells will lose all immunity and die as a result of foreign invasions of other transmittable diseases. The souls of the dead bodies will be named on an AIDS quilt as martyrs for filth and used by the fellow followers of the cult of stupidity as role models. I wonder why people who follow such suicidal lifestyles just do not kill themselves. It is not only just a gay thing. To be fair, most gays who are gay because of biological disposition are not as reckless as those who become gay as a lifestyle choice or else want to relate to their feminine side. Although this may be observed by those who might take an interest in gay society and seen openly by those within gay society, it will not be obvious to all who are in a greater national society. Just like if you are in another country to me, you will be aware of things that I may have only heard of and vice versa. So allow me to tell you some things that I have seen in my country, Australia, which give me some concern about the mindset of the few who are now touted as celebrities because they get media coverage and are deemed to be the standard and are now role models, at least for the time being. Well, I see Australian society seemingly containing a cancer. Much like a racial HIV which seeks to hijack white Australians and take away their identity, dignity and ultimately their lives. However, it is white Australians who seek to do this to other white Australians. Here's an example. In Melbourne there was an anti-Islam demonstration which did become violent at times, but the counter-demonstrators were not Muslim but were whites claiming to oppose racism. Seeing as Islam is not a race, how could it be deemed to be racist? Another example was in Sydney where a demonstration against Chinese investors buying and driving up house prices was countered by white demonstrators who continually yelled out racists. Despite the fact that it is all racial groups in Sydney who are being pushed out of the housing market due to the speculation in the housing market by foreign Chinese investors who simply outbid locals at auctions. So one must ask why progressive white Australians would help out people who would gladly kill them when given the chance. Why would they seek to impose destitution, misery and indeed take away the dignity of people who, at least physically, are more or less the same as them? And do these things on behalf of those who hate them because of their physical attributes? Why? What possible greater purpose can there be in racial suicide? Is it a type of self-loathing? Or is it an extreme form of narcissism? Either way, it requires a caste system in order to maintain itself. It is about bloodlines with a race without competition. A type of tribalism much like Jewishness that can mean anything at any time but not to just anyone but within the tribe. Marx said in order to save a race one must first destroy it. Considering Marx was a satanist, the question should be asked whether he was actually planning for a satanic caste to rule this earth and this world. So who are these people who see themselves so great and progressive? I always thought that to progress you would have a definite solid foundation from which to expand and indeed progress. However, as history is being forgotten, discarded and rewritten or else having its rights sold to the highest bidder, the end result is a type of necro-history being indoctrinated to the stupid who do not understand or care to beyond their own personal comfort zone. As the population becomes increasingly narcissistic under the guise of progress in which all supposedly become equals, there will be by the spirit of this nature the need for the ultra-narcissistic or alpha people to corral all others so that they will be the first among equals. In white society we see these alpha people enforcing Marxism on others via money and celebrity, which are both symbolic byproducts of taboo worship or worship of the physical. So the first among equals narcissists are now reforming and bonding together under the membership of an ancient and long-forgotten caste, and that being the patricians. In ancient Rome they were the born-to-rule class who considered themselves blessed by the gods or even children of God, and thus we see their fanaticism in opposing Christianity, and in fact their fanatical anti-Christian jihad is not something new, it is a continuance of the war against the God of Abraham. This is a blood feud type war that started from the expulsion of Lucifer and his followers from heaven. It manifested among humans with Sodom and Gomorrah, and now it has resurrected itself via the prophet of hell on earth who went by the name Karl Marx. When Marx said that races and cultures must be destroyed in order to be saved, he didn't define what was meant by saved or who was going to do the saving. Although he was an apostate Jew and renounced Christianity, he sought to make all Jews apostate and all Christians to renounce Christ, and as it stands it does seem he was somewhat successful in that the Wedico HIV injection he put into the world continues to turn healthy blood cells into rogue-aggressive cancer cells, which despite various forms of medicine and chemotherapy continues to spread. As a result the body will die. But that doesn't really matter anymore because nut jobs, mercenaries and the stupid had no inherent value. After all, they had either sold or thrown away their dignity. But now let us look at the new patricians and how they intend to implement their new order. Seeing as there is no natural spiritual impetus behind it, this new order can only expand by physical enticements and physical force. Although this could be read to be a purely physical coercion, and which it is, it would be physical use of physical assets, but this would be a use of things they believe they are entitled to keep for themselves, and in the view of those who partake in this usage it would be a subtraction from what they perceive as being theirs or under their control. So they would have to improvise from their understanding of the non-physical, as the current majority of the so-called patrician wannabes had no concept of any spirituality but rather see anything relating to it as hypothetical or symbolic, then it would be easy for the established patricians to make up things on the fly because, as Hession of Alamotte said, nothing is true, all is permitted. Things such as a foundation based with logic is not necessary or desirable and therefore does not apply. And it is accepted and parroted by the wannabes because it is a directive from the established or the top and is gospel if said by a celebrity. This is how the new Ice Age / global warming / climate change cult has infected humanity. Again, like HIV, it infects healthy cells, turns them rogue and seeks to kill the host. If you ask any of these average Joe hijacked beings what evidence there is for climate change and the need to deindustrialize, you will be told that the science is settled. The progressive and the atheist scientist will give the excuse that it is only possible to oppose climate change by political actions and initiatives, and lastly the politician will say it is being done to satisfy the concerns of the average Joe. This is an example of the industrialist mechanics of herdthink. Not only is it a willing stupidity, but it is a stupidity that seeks to forcibly inject itself into and infect others. This willingly suicidal stupidity will kill its hosts and indeed infects others in a pseudo-spiritual sense by turning worthless and soulless corpses into martyrs and possibly memes. And the cost to the physical from all of this? Nothing. In political terms we have quite atheist or apostate ideologies such as the Greens. In economic terms we have the green economy, and in spiritual terms we have Gaia worship and corruptions of established religions which are repackaged minus God. The only people who follow these creeds are the willingly stupid and the utterly corrupt. Either way they are the HIV that will seek to kill you by the same injected nature that infects them. As of this current time there is no cure. So if you want to look at it, then this earth is infected by HIV. Humanity is the blood supply that keeps it alive both in physical and spiritual terms, but we are dealing with a fake sense of balance. You have the save the earth at all costs environmentalists, and then you have the anything for a dollar business hustlers. Both sides see each other as direct opposites and thus view their presence on this earth and this world as balanced, and therefore see themselves as the life if now actual gods over anyone who is not of them. Greenies see themselves as gods and businessmen as Satan and vice versa. They see themselves as heroes in mythologies and prophets of the Bible, but nowhere in their life view of existence does any spirituality come into their groupthink equation. As they have no spirituality nor can they bestow anything of that nature onto the lesser beings, then they can only reward them by physical rewards, as can be seen now. Now take into fact that the physical rewards are actually for the most part symbolic. For example, a bank can claim to have $1 billion because it says so on their ledger, and thus it is accepted as such by the herd via herdthink. But if you were to ask that the bank show the actual cash, then they could not. It doesn't exist within their bank and possibly has never been printed by the government of the country in whose name it was printed. The money is generated and transferred by a few keystrokes on a computer. It is make-believe adhered to by the herd and thus has by default become a godless religion. Much like Buddhism but without monks, and instead infected with Marxists, in which Marx has replaced Buddha. On top of that, it has become a political religion where it is the ultimate aim to get as much money and power while at the same time proclaiming to oppose it. So looking at these wannabe superior caste patricians, we should look at what these people hold dear. An overview of their beliefs show them to hold opposing views as being simultaneously true, such as holding that there should be a classless multiracial society while feeling they are entitled to live in all white, rich, gated communities in prime real estate. Stating that Christianity should be banned in all schools but that Gaia worship and other forms of environmental beliefs should be compulsory. Other religions should be tolerated if they are overwhelmingly non-white so as to preserve ethnic human rights. Expounding that everyone is obliged to perform manual tasks in order to maintain the global society while they are adhering to non-manual positions within national governments. propagating there should be no class ranks within ethnic communities and yet propagating there should be class ranks within white societies. For all the yelling and screaming they do about white people being Nazis, racists, snobs etc., they are in fact the very people they describe and insult. They all have cognitive dissonance which they can recognize in everyone else except themselves. They are so removed from themselves because they have no souls. These people have no concept of dignity or the ability to gain such because they have renounced God and their souls and thus seek to get others to renounce God and their souls, and if they can achieve that then to take their dignity and ultimately their lives will be an easy matter. The Agenda 21 plan to eradicate 90% of the Earth's population suits the patricians well. In fact, it is very fair to say that they are the ones behind it. The only way that a particular caste is identifiable is by physical appearance, and hence their need to ensure that there can be no tribe that may be in their image. The only people they want in their image are their children. As for the non-patrician whites, they have to be bred out or killed off, and thus we see non-white criminals being injected into white countries, as well as the acceptance and trafficking of life-shortening addictive narcotics. These patricians are both the arsonist and the fireman, or both the spreader of HIV and peddlers of AZT. These people have no concept of consequences, nor can they accept responsibility of their own actions. Although referring to the patrician caste and order of ancient Rome may give us an idea of what today's neo-patricians would do to us, we need not go back so far to get a prototype or concept of what they plan. We can look at the Edwardian period in Britain that occurred after the death of Queen Victoria. The Edwardian period began in 1901 and lasted until the start of World War I. Even though Edward died in 1910, this era continued on after him and was only stopped because of two reasons. The first being World War I, where the elitism of the ruling class had to be tempered due to the manpower required to fight a war that had never been considered. That also included that the children and heirs of the ruling class thought it would be a spiffy idea to go and kick Jerry up the bottom, and instead ended up in rubbish heaps of mud face down permanently. The second being that conditions, lifestyle and pay had improved for the female population as there was a void in the employment pool. In addition, there was also the introduction of the typewriter. There was no incentive to work for the patrician families as maids on estates which had no income and were deteriorating, nor was there any incentive to live by the rules that governed these estates, as in that maids and other employees were not permitted to be seen by the family of the house or speak unless spoken to. Maids were also fucked on occasion by the master of the house, as this was deemed to be part of the service they were hired for. Working hours could be 18 to 20 hours a day, and if you got sick you were dismissed. The British TV shows Upstairs, Downstairs and Downtown Abbey are examples of that time. After the war came what is known as the Roaring Twenties, where government and gangsterism formed a symbiotic world as one could not survive without the other. Finally, whatever wealth or lifestyle the plebs had gained during this time was obliterated with the Wall Street crash, from rags to riches and then to death or utter docile servitude. Unless you were of the patrician club, you went into a self-sold slavery and the price became cheaper. And this will happen again because people are either willingly stupid or have the memory of a goldfish. If you think it is just a white thing, then you should look up and see for yourself what happened to China. China had the imperial setup with snobby royals. They had such a large population that they should have repelled any invader. But they didn't because they couldn't and paid a heavy price to the likes of Japan. Then came Mao Zedong, who abolished any royal setup there and turned China into a machine that stands over the world, but he also killed more Chinese in a decade than foreign invaders did in a century and set up a pseudo-nobility that lasts now. This is what the white world faces. You may say that if today's Marxist yuppies want servants they can just hire niggers, books etc. But they don't want them, they want you. From their point of view, a farm animal is just a farm animal, but a slave is mine. Non-whites are just farm animals as far as they are concerned, not the sort of creatures you have serving meals or having sex with. The farm animals can sleep in the barn, but you will sleep in a bed in a cellar. But if the master wants to use you for sex or even your children, remember you will be owned outright, and that includes everything. You cannot refuse. You refuse, you die. Simple. Whoever owns your dignity owns your life. But those who have thrown away their dignity have also thrown away their lives, and that includes their children's. If you are dead, you are enslaved.